Yo, what up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Maris Jr. and today I'm joined by TJ from the Boxing Syndicate. What up, TJ?
What's up, yo?
All right, before we get started, TJ, I do got to mention, man, your prediction video you dropped on this weekend's fights. How many did you get right?
2 out of 3, man.
2 out of 3. Not bad. Not
No, yeah,
bad.
not bad. No, well, hold on. It was because how many? Deontay Wilder, Caleb
Haney.
Plant. Haney. I got right. Wilder, I got right. Claressa Shields and Alicia Baumgartner. I got Caleb Plant wrong because I went for the Michigan guy. I went for Anthony Durrell, and he got knocked out.
That's still not good. I mean, not bad. You only got the Durrell fight wrong.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are picking against Baumgartner, so good job getting that one right.
Yeah. I had to go with her too. Like again, just another Michigan person. I just had to support, and I'm happy she got the win though, because like I said in the video, I could have, wouldn't be surprised if Michaela did win. You know what I mean? Because she did have like the height advantage, the reach advantage. I was expecting her to use it a little bit more, but Alicia came out on fire though. It was a good fight.
She did. That's a fight I wouldn't mind if they're running back. I definitely want to see that one again.
Yeah,
and
She's not trying to.
And speaking of Michigan, the fight we want to talk about today was Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. For all the belts at 160 pounds for undisputed. It was the only opponent that had ever beat Claressa Shields, and this was back in the amateurs. So a lot of built-in storyline for this fight. It got also delayed by a month due to the passing of Queen Elizabeth. So things were already at all-time high when it comes to tensions, and just wanted to get this fight in. What were your impressions of the fight, TJ? Did it play out how you thought it was gonna play out?
Yeah, man. I had Claressa. Obviously, I had Claressa winning, but I did not expect. Well, I'm not surprised that this happened, but I did not expect Savannah Marshall to control the ring like that, like the way she did. Like she had Claressa on the ropes in the corner the whole fight. You know what I mean? That's where I think she was gaining a lot of her points that from the judges was the ring generalship. So, I mean, I think Claressa obviously went out there and won unanimously in my head. You know what I mean? She was handling most of the rounds, but Savannah did well too. She didn't, she wasn't a pushover in the fight, but it wasn't how I expected. I was expecting, Claressa to go out there and do what she did.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't a shutout by Claressa Shields by any means, but I would say the first half, I almost did have it a shutout for Claressa Shields. I think she was, controlling the pace of the fight, doing great with the body work, landing the cleaner punches. And to Savannah Marshall's credit, she kept coming forward, but she was taking 2 punches to land 1. So.
Right.
Whether she was hurt or not by those punches by Shields, they're still scoring blows.
Yeah.
But she turned it on the second half. I think in the second half she probably won 2 to 3 rounds for Marshall, so it made it a little bit closer. But I think 6-4, 7-3 for Shields is a good scorecard.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, like I said, I was expecting Savannah to use her size a little bit more, probably, use that reach a little bit more. But Claressa did a great job, like getting inside and just really fighting in the trenches and really banging it out with her. So, I felt like that was a game plan she needed to win that fight, because Savannah is a lot longer than I was expecting. When I was actually watching her on TV, she's a lot longer and taller. You know what I mean? Her arms are really long. So I was expecting her to use it a little bit more, but Claressa did a good job, like, backing her off a little bit, besides her putting her in the ropes in the corner the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think we all kind of knew Savannah Marshall had power, but Claressa Shields confirmed it. She said from the opening round, she had to kind of, bite down and tough it out, because she does hit hard, and I think from the 6th round on, I think her eye must have got, started closing shut from a lot of those punches. So she had to dig deep for it, but I think that she deserved the victory.
Definitely.
Like I said, I don't think, it was a debate like if she won or not. I did see some people, not a lot, obviously, not many people said Savannah won or anything like that, but I did see some people saying it was a lot closer than I thought it was. So I think she won it, very clearly. So I didn't think it was really much of a debate, but to Savannah's credit, she did do well, though.
She did. I know leading up to this fight, when I was trying to give analogies to people that don't really follow women's boxing and try to give a comparison fight, I was giving them Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. you know. And I was saying Claressa Shields is going to be the Tyson Fury in this fight, and then Savannah Marshall is going to be Deontay Wilder, where, you know, Savannah Marshall is going to be in this fight because of her power, you know, and that could have been the game changer. But in looking how the fight played out, you know, it really wasn't an accurate comparison, because like Savannah Marshall can box, you know, she was doing good in there besides having the power. So she can box, and she was definitely in the fight. But like, to your point, TJ, it wasn't controversial. You know, I think there was a rematch clause in there if the fight was controversial, but you know, I think the point has been proven by Shields. No need to run it back.
Yeah, I don't think they should run it back either. I don't think it's a point. I think it just play out exactly the same way. And then, like, I seen Savannah Marshall, she kind of was using like the lead hand down, like defense. I don't think that played to her credit either. I think Claressa Shields was taking advantage of that and just tearing her apart with that too. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it is something she could change up for a rematch, but I just don't think it's really a reason to do it.
Oh, yep, no, agreed. So where does each fighter go from here? You know, what do you think about Claressa Shields? I think I heard a little bit during the post fight that she might go back to the MMA for a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her in MMA a little bit. I know she lost her last MMA fight, but I mean, she did win one too. So you know what I mean. I wouldn't mind seeing her go back in there and see what she can do, because not so many boxers gonna step in the octagon. You know what I mean. So it's fun seeing somebody, you know, on the boxing side take that step in the octagon rather than seeing all the MMA fighters try to come over on the boxing side. So if you want to do that, that'll be sweet. Or like we discussed a little earlier off camera, if you want to move up to 168 and take on Francois Cruz, she's undisputed at 168. You know what I mean? Maybe she can get another division undisputed. So I wouldn't mind either one of those.
That's probably if she's gonna stay in boxing or come back for another fight in boxing, I think that's the fight I want to see for Shields the most. Her versus Franchon Cruz. I know, as we mentioned kind of off air before we went live, they fought before, but it was when Franchon Cruz was making her debut, and it was a 4-round bout. So she's matured since then, showing that she's got a dog in her. So maybe a rematch would play out differently.
Right. And at a heavier weight. So, you know what I mean? Maybe that might be a little hard for Claressa, you know, to manage that 8 pounds or whatever. So maybe it'd be, and obviously Cruz has proven that this weight class is for her. So we'll see, you know, if what Claressa wants to do. If she does stay in boxing, I think that's the route she should take. Obviously, what else is to do at 160? Now you got all of them, you know what I mean? So I think she should take that step up, you know, in a competition. It's kind of similar to what Canelo just did with Bivol, you know what I mean? Just move up in weight. If you take the L, I don't think she will, but if she does take the L, you know, whatever, you took a challenge, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and the thing about Shields, you know, she has said multiple times that she can go down and fight at lower weight classes. So if she does go down to 154, you know, I think Natasha Jones is probably the top name in that division right now. That could be a good scrap. You know, Natasha Jones has 2 belts right now. But another one that's kind of like a dark horse, you know, Jessica McCaskill has been talking that talk. Like, it seems like the two don't like each other. You know, Shields McCaskill. Shields has said she'll go all the way down to 147 to fight Jessica McCaskill.
That's a big jump, but McCaskill's been on a run lately too, though. So she's been on a good run lately. She's been like improving each and every fight, and I've been like following her. You know, I know you posted a little bit about her too, and I've been like, you know, just kind of keeping up with her ever since then too. So I wouldn't mind that as well. You know what I mean? She's definitely a dog, you know, in her own right, but. You know who I'm going with.
Of course, you got to go with the hometown. Yeah. For sure. And well, then Savannah Marshall, you know, if she stays at fighting, I think for her, you know, dropping down in weight doesn't really make sense. Like you said, she's much bigger frame. So at 160, I guess that she does fight for the belts as it become vacant.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, if she's going to stay at 160, if Claressa moves up or down, whatever she chooses, or MMA if she vacates, you know what I mean, try to get another belt, you know what I mean, go fight for another 160-pound belt, and maybe she can get undisputed once, you know, after a few fights once Claressa leaves the division too. So she still has that goal in mind. It's definitely still possible, because I don't think Claressa's gonna stay there. So
Nah. Like I think to your point, TJ, I think Claressa is chasing legacy fights from here on out.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
I think she's kind of already proven she's the greatest woman of all time. You know, three division champion, undisputed twice. You know, but she's still chasing greatness. So whatever she wants to do next, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So I think she should probably go for undisputed 3 times. Why not? That'd be
Why not?
crazy. You know what I mean? And then if she moves up, like you said earlier, with Cruz, you could do it in one fight. So I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I also wouldn't mind seeing her do the MMA thing. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty sweet. And she did well her first fight, and then I thought she did well in the fight she lost too. It was just obviously the girl had a lot more experience. It's a different game, so I wouldn't mind seeing her do that either. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then speaking of undisputed, you know, if there's no more further comments on Shields Marshall, I do want to segue to some more of the other fights we saw this weekend, because this weekend was loaded. I said it's a boxing fan's dream this weekend, and I want to talk about Devin Haney. You know, he ended up winning the rematch against Kambosos, probably a little bit more convincingly than the first time around, I would say, with more power shots. But there's a comment that a fellow YouTuber that I follow made that kind of stuck with me. So he, as we saw, Haney's kind of struggling to make 135 pounds now. So, he's hinting of moving up to 140 pounds. But, Jamie from Punch Drunk Boxing, shout out to you, man. He mentioned that it would be a mistake for Haney to leave 135 now, because, the two legacy fights for him there are Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson. So he would rather Haney, keeps making 135 pounds, gets those fights in, and then moves up to 140 pounds. And I countered, and I told him, like, you know what? I think as much as I want to see those fights as a fan, they would be with a giant asterisk right now, because if Haney loses against Shakur or Lomachenko at 135, he'll come back with the excuse saying it was the weight. I just wasn't making weight comfortably anymore. That's why I wasn't performing at my best. So I told him I would rather that fight with Shakur happens at 140. No excuses. But he rebutted, saying that, like, there's no guarantees those fights happen at 140 pounds. So I want to ask your opinion, TJ. Does Haney need to stay 135 pounds for his career, for his legacy, or can he still go on to have a very great career if he moves on to 140 pounds now?
Hell yeah, I think he definitely could move up right now. I mean, at the end of the day, he got every belt at 135. He had nothing to prove to nobody. I mean, at the end of the day, he could leave right now and say he conquered the division. Obviously, he didn't fight everybody. He didn't fight a lot of the stars in the division. You know what I mean? But he got all the belts. He could leave right now and go to 140. You know what I mean? In my opinion, but obviously, I want to see those big fights at 135, as Shakur, the Loma, and things like that. And Haney even said in the post fight that 135 was a little tough to make. You know what I mean? But it is tough, because like you said, you don't want an excuse to be the weight issue. You know what I mean? Because obviously that's a big part of how you gonna come into the fight. But I think if he's making a weight,
I think it's fine for him to
go ahead and stay at 135 and take those big fights, because he looked good last night. Shit, I mean, if the weight was an issue, it didn't really seem like it when he got in the ring.
Right.
I mean, he looked really good last night. So maybe he did look drained. Obviously, his face and everything. He did look really drained, but maybe what I mean. Despite how we see it, maybe he feels okay. You know what I mean? He just can't really judge. Obviously, we got to see what he wants to do. But like I said, I think I think he should stay at 135, especially since Shakur is coming up. I think I definitely want to see that fight at 135. Probably just because I want to see it sooner than later. But I think Loma should probably be the next fight for Haney, at 135. So especially that's a big reason why I want him to stay right there too.
Absolutely. And we got Sports and Tunes on live chat. What up, David? He says, "Great night, champs. Was dope, and boxing is gonna be great for the years to come." Absolutely.
These young dudes are crazy good.
They're coming up, man. And speaking of Haney at 135 pounds, I think Lomachenko is probably the only fight I would say stay one more fight for that one. because Lomachenko is not moving up to 140 pounds. You know, he's a
Oh,
bit
yeah,
small.
yeah.
He's a bit small to make that
Yeah,
jump.
yeah.
But at 135 pounds, that's his only shot for Haney to get that Lomachenko
Right.
fight if he wants it. And that I know most people can say, well, you know, he just beat Kambosos, who beat Teofimo, who beat Lomachenko. So he really already kind of, by that logic, beat Lomachenko. But you can't play
It don't
that,
work
right?
like that. Yeah,
it don't work like that in boxing. So I still want to see it, man. I think that would be a very technical, you know, high boxing IQ type of fight.
Do you think it's dangerous for Haney to take on Shakur at 135 since he does think he's having trouble winking it?
I think so. I think if you're gonna fight Shakur Stevenson, you got to be on your A game. You got to have everything working for you.
It's gonna be very comfortable for Shakur right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he having trouble making it, I agree with you. I think it would be very dangerous to take that fight next, at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe, you know, to see how Shakur does at 135 for a fight or two. But next, because, you know, obviously after Shakur's last fight, he said he'd take on Devin Haney, the undisputed champ, you know what I mean, right now. Yeah. So I don't think that's happening next. But if it was to happen, I think that is very dangerous for Devin right away, at least.
Yeah, and I think 135 pound, you know, it's got some names coming up in the works. I think like Charlie Sheehy fights at 135, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, man.
I'm a big fan of him, Doug. He's really good.
He's really good. Ernesto Tito Mercado, who's fighting Jason Velez, fights at 135. He's another prospect that's coming up. Edwin de los Santos, who knocked out El Rayo, is at 135. Yeah. So I think Shakur's going to have names, and like not to mention Gervonta Tank Davis. You know, if the Ryan Garcia fight happens and he comes victorious, a lot of people are still going to say he's a top dog at 135. So Shakur is going to have options at 135 with, you know, some high quality opponents.
And I don't know. I don't see him taking a tune up at 135. I think it'll be a decent name. I don't think it's going to be nobody. I don't think it's going to be a Loma or a Teofimo or nobody like that right away once he gets that start at 135. But I'm hoping it's somebody decent just to test him a little bit, you know, just to test him a little bit more because obviously he's one of those generational guys. We kind of think he's going to run through everybody. So I kind of want to see him get a little, you know, nice little test once he moves up into a new weight class.
Yeah, I think we mentioned when we're talking about that, like, you know, Pitbull Cruz would be such a good matchup at
something
pounds.
Like that, right? Something
super aggressive, keeps coming.
Yeah, bring some pressure. You know what I mean? Because he already doesn't get hit, so if he has a lot of pressure, you know, in his face like that, maybe he'd get hit a little bit more. Maybe he'd take a hard shot. You know what I mean? That'll stun him a little bit. You never know.
Never know. And then I want to segue to another fight that happened this weekend. You know, the one that you got wrong, Caleb Plant versus Anthony Durrell. I was listening to this morning to interview David Benavidez did earlier on that fight, and he was mentioning how he didn't think Caleb Plant had any power and wasn't gonna, like, you know, have come close to stopping Anthony Durrell. Well, flash forward to how it actually played out, and he knocked him out. Clean out. It wasn't as punishing as a performance as Benavidez versus Durrell. You know, both of them got 9-round stoppages, but, you know, Benavidez versus Durrell
just broke him down.
He just broke him down and punished him the whole time. And I'll give I'll give Benavidez credit too, because he did it, you know, 3 years ago, and I think he was only 23 years old.
Right.
So that's also a statement.
Pretty seasoned
at that point too. So
but the fact that Caleb Plant won by KO, does that make a matchup versus David Benavidez that much more tantalizing?
For me, it does.
I think Caleb
really showed. Obviously, he's not a guy that you usually see knock dudes out too often. You know what I mean? So with him doing that against a pretty decent opponent, I think it does make that Benavidez fight a lot more entertaining and, you know, fantasizing that people want to see it. So I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that. I think I'm taking David Benavidez, if I'm be honest with you. I think it'd be just a little bit too big.
A lot of pressure
for Caleb, I think, but obviously Caleb did well against Canelo in my opinion. I think he won a lot of those rounds against Canelo before he got stopped. So he got the skill set to hang with the elite of the elite in the division. So you never know what can happen. Obviously, he just put an elite guy out. You know what I mean? You never know what can happen. But I think I'm taking Benavidez if that does happen, and I think that's the most likely fight for him next too.
I hope so, man. I at this point don't know who to go with. I think before Plant fought Canelo, I would have probably said I give the edge to Benavidez for the power. But now I almost feel like Plant got it leveled up because he fought Canelo.
Yeah.
He looked better, and I think he learned a thing or two fighting Canelo. So I think it's a closer fight. I'm probably still going to go with Benavidez just because of that power. I think Plant has good defense, but he does get hit too. It's not like spectacular defense where you can't touch him. So it might be kind of a breakdown where he's doing good in the early rounds, but sooner or later, Benavidez is going to get him in the end.
Yeah, and like I said, like the size of Benavidez, obviously, we've seen him have trouble making that weight. He's just a big dude, you know what I mean? So if he comes in on point, that size, I feel like it's going to, obviously on fight night, he's going to come in weighing like 180 or some crazy shit. So, you know what I mean? Him trying to move him around is just going to be tough. Him putting that weight on him, I think it's going to really take a toll. But like this, like we said, Caleb's not, a pushover by any means, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I think that's the most likely for them two guys next up too. Or maybe if David doesn't take a fight, because obviously Caleb just fought. So if David doesn't take a fight coming up soon here.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a David Benavidez versus David Morrell, the Cuban. Has been rumored as well. I don't think the Jamar Charlo fight is an option for either of them. I think Charlo's going to take a kind of a tune-up. He's been out of the ring for a minute.
A long time, man.
Yeah. And before I let you go, TJ, I want to pick your brain on one more fight we saw, and this one also produced a highlight reel knockout, and it's Deontay Wilder. He only landed. I don't know if he only landed or only threw 3 punches, but he just needed 1 punch to knock out Robert Helenius. First round KO. What were your thoughts on that fight, and what do you see in the future for Deontay Wilder?
I predicted
Helenius to do a lot better, man. I just thought since they are sparring partners, he knows kind of, you know what I mean, what he brings to the table, kind of what to look for. But that shit does not matter. He kind of just, it's exactly what it was. It's just 1 punch knockout. But what's next for Wilder? I think I posted something last night. I had AJ, Usyk, and Andy Ruiz. I did see something that said Andy Ruiz was probably going to be ordered pretty soon. But I wouldn't mind seeing that, though. I wouldn't mind seeing Andy Ruiz. My top pick would probably be Usyk and Wilder, but Andy Ruiz wouldn't be bad. I'm still taking Wilder. You know what I mean? Probably by a knockout too, but Andy Ruiz is a good fighter though. I like his hand speed. I like his power. When he fought Ortiz the last time when we did an episode on that one too, I had a lot of good things to say about Andy Ruiz. He really impressed me, so I wouldn't mind seeing him.
Yeah, and Andy Ruiz showed a chin against Ortiz. He got hit clean, a couple times, and didn't get rocked. So I'll be curious to see how it plays out. But Deontay Wilder, once again, glad he's back. I think the heavyweight division needs him. He's does a lot of fun things when he gets that 1 punch knockout. So I'm excited to see where he goes from there, man.
Yeah. It's just some dudes, man. Like some dudes you just can't beat. It's just Tyson Fury. You're just not. It's just that he's just a guy that you'll never beat. But anybody else in the heavyweight division, though, it's like probably fair game. Like
I think
to knock
so.
out.
Andy Ruiz, I think he can knock out. Anthony Joshua can knock out, and Usyk, I think, can knock out. Because let's not forget how Usyk performed against Derek Chisora. I think he almost lost against Chisora.
So exactly, and
Wilder versus Chisora. What are your predictions on? Come on,
come on. How you gotta say that, man? You know where I sit with that.
So I mean, I don't know. I think anybody else in the heavyweight division is probably fair game for a KO for Wilder. So I mean, he probably can take all those the 3 fights before he calls it a career. Maybe I think he said he has 3 or 4 years left in him or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's about
the timeline for those 3 fights, maybe, to catch those 3 fights and call it a career.
I agree. All right, well, let's get back to the original fight. Just kind of closing comments on Claressa Shields, Savannah Marshall. Just huge props to both women and just every single woman on that all-female card. They sold out the O2 Arena in London.
It's crazy.
Every single fighter there put on a show. The co-main event was, everything we thought and some, and the main event lived up to as well. So, kudos to them. Women's boxing has shown, I think all of this year really just that they can put on huge events and be the main attraction.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for them to keep on doing their thing, and all the up and coming female boxers that are going to be following their footsteps.
For sure.
They
They
definitely been putting on
for the sport for
sure, putting on crazy.
the event, so definitely looking forward to what comes next.
Definitely. All right, Mark Nash, peace. How's it going, brother?
What's going on, dog?
Cool. Well, we're pretty much wrapping up. So, TJ, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yep, y'all can
Find me
on Instagram as a Boxing Syndicate. I got it down there on the name. That's for Instagram. Then you can find me on TikTok at TBS Boxing. And then I got the YouTube link in the Instagram bio too.
Awesome. And you gonna start doing more prediction videos?
Hell yeah, I'm doing a lot more of those. I like doing those. For the first one, you know what I mean? It wasn't the best, but I feel like I was a lot more comfortable doing it. So I'm gonna do a lot more of those.
Nice. No, I feel like you're more invested watching the fight too, because you want your picks to turn out to be right. So I'm with you, man. Keep doing the thing. And everyone else, thank you so much for tuning into this episode talking about Shields Marshall and pretty much every single other fight that happened this weekend. Thank you all for tuning in. Nash, thank you for being in the live chat. Sports and Tunes, thank you again. We'll catch you again real soon. Peace.
See y'all.